Anyway, let's get going. Here we go. Woohoo! Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Smudcast 880. Video games, greatest villains. I hope this is not a definitive list, because the games that I have been shown that he's going to be covering are fine, but maybe not the greatest of villains. We don't have New Vegas up there. We don't have other Planescape Torment characters up there. So there's stuff that we should be getting. The best stories from video games would have the best villains. That's one of the arguments I would make. So let's see what he has to say. Let's go over the basics here. This is from MangaKamen. Okay, so he's masked manga dude, or just a masked manga. 212 subs, 212,000 subs. Good for you. And this came out 2 weeks ago. Has 22,000 views. All right. Maybe it wasn't marketed enough well. Maybe he didn't boost it. Who knows? I'm not sure what his audience is like. Either way, 32 and a half minutes. This is going to take some time. And I'm hoping for some deep analysis. If you're going to go 30 minutes on anything, it's not just going to be fast cuts of video game or someone playing or someone talking about how great the boss battle was. This boss battle is so awesome. Therefore,
he doesn't really talk about any of that. It's a very surface level description of characters.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I hope there's something there, but not holding up any hopes for this. All right. I think we're in the watch together. I think our volumes are all good. Whisp is still busy, but we can get started. Should be fine. Let's go.
Inherently fear evil. However, occasionally a person may become seduced by evil.
Ooh.
There's some good editing on the video, if nothing else.
Yep.
You know, I love talking about villains on this
Yeah,
show.
I'm not a fan of his PNG tube thing.
Oh my god.
Like that's no offense, guy, but no, that does not look very pleasing to the eyes.
I was just about to praise the editing, but yeah, no.
Okay, my brain is
major Undertale influence.
okay.
Yeah.
Double-breasted, popped. Is that a collar? I don't. Just the breast just goes all the way up the neck. I guess.
I guess it's a V-neck and just a leather jacket with a fucking Seto Kaiba popped collar.
With shoulder pads. I think there's a buckle on the wrists that do nothing.
There's an upside down heart for a belt buckle. Like you kind of overplayed here.
Leather
dude.
halter top jacket. Wow.
This is full on Undertale design.
Look at the pince nez. What is that? Are those glasses? Is he reading? Is he just looking like feminine eyes? He's got some weird clip on his temple. Is that hair? His ears are pointed. Like this is.
Have you played Undertale?
I've seen the art.
I've played it. I'm not.
This like
a
almost 100
fan of it.
Like, is that a shirt?
Yeah, this is.
Or is that his skin? It's the same skin tone as his skin. Or is he wearing gloves? Is he wearing makeup? Like what is?
Yeah, you probably should have picked a different shade of white for the shirt because it just looks.
This is intentional. What is wrong? Stop complaining.
Look at
this. It's just this one art style.
It's padded.
So you can't change that.
The biceps are padded. I think. This is so weird. It's
weird to look at.
Yeah. I'll show you which character this.
I don't. I think my brain is bad enough.
Is that supposed to be?
I forgot the name. It's so long ago. No. Don't try.
Anyway,
okay?
We're gonna skip. My brain is. I don't want to look at this thing anymore. It's so bizarre. Anyway, get back to the video.
I'm content with my Right and Wrong series, where I go over some specific examples on how to properly do things. At least in my humble opinion.
He has a Right and Wrong. Oh my god, that must be a treat.
I don't really watch this guy.
Wow, I would love to see just one of those episodes.
But today I figured we'd do something a little bit
Braver
different.
than I
Instead
am.
of focusing on the negative, we'd focus on the positive.
All right.
And I'd talk about what I think are the greatest villains in video games. Obviously, when you talk about a subject like that, it's going to be subjective. But I hope you guys come up with who you think are the best.
Wait, that's it? It might be subjective, but I hope you guys bring up your own subjective points. What?
Yeah, like he's just talking about his favorite villains in no particular order, and it's a very surface level description of these villains.
Oh, this is going to be a waste. This is going to be a giant slog. I like characters. They are bad. Therefore, I like them. No, dude, come on. Give me a reason why. Look at the boss battle. They're so hard. That doesn't make a good villain, buddy.
Does in one case.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. This is going to be a slog.
And this isn't the be-all, end-all of all great video game villains. This is just me giving my own two takes. Whether it be the design...
he's doing Refantasio. That'd be great. That's a great villain.
And he's showing Expedition 33 here, a phenomenal game I highly recommend.
All right.
Their roles, or the sum of their parts, villains are a necessary element to a game's story.
Yes.
And oftentimes, they act as a challenge the players must overcome. So, I'm MangaKamen, and join me as we dive into the world of video game villains.
Power Vergil?
You know, if there's one thing...
I think it's about the desire for power.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think there's a name of a boss called Power Vergil.
No. It's headline and sub-headline.
Okay.
That's what he's going for.
Ah,
So the category is power, and the example is Vergil.
all right.
Maybe considering the Netflix adaptation of Devil May Cry, it's that it drew me back into the world of DMC.
Really?
Just not that.
You watched it, and therefore you wanted to play some DMC.
I mean,
No,
that's
he's
what that happened with a lot of people. They saw the Netflix show, they went and played the games and said, "Oh, that's why the fans hate this show."
Yeah. Well, I don't.
Rightfully so.
I didn't watch it, and
I'm not
Do
going
not
to watch it.
Do not.
so I wasn't compelled to play the games again. But maybe I might have been. Who knows?
We are masochistic for doing this show, but we're not so masochistic as to want to watch Adi Shankar crap.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I put Wisp through the main games because of this show.
Yeah, like when Castlevania was
I would have
popular.
played them eventually. I'm just not through with Bayonetta.
Well, when the
I haven't
original,
perfected it.
the first season, no, the second season of Castlevania came out on Netflix, it didn't compel me to go play Nocturne again. I just had it on my drive because I always play it. I don't need to see a freaking
Play Nocturne, what?
Nocturne of the Moonlight. Castlevania. Oh, sorry. Is that the name of the OST or is that the name
That's
of?
the name. That's
the
the name
of the show.
Nocturne's the name of the show.
Oh, I'm talking about the Japanese ROM of Castlevania. It's called Nocturne in the Moonlight. I thought. Well, it's on my drive.
But
Yeah, Shankar's second Castlevania show was called.
Oh, no, I'm
Nocturne,
talking about
and it had nothing to do with anything.
I was referring to the first and second season when it first came out. It might have compelled me, but I was like, no, I play it all the time anyway. I have the actual CD from 20 years ago in my library right here. But, I can't play that on my PC.
You got Castlevania 3?
I bought that for NES when I was in the 80s. So I have it, just not in my room. But I do have it, yes. I swear I have it.
I agree with the chat. Vergil isn't a villain. He's just an antagonist.
Well, you could make the distinction. I have to know his definition because you could make.
You really have to, because
Yeah.
Vergil is really just there for himself, but he's not sadistic. He's not out to destroy the world. He's not out to control anything. He just wants to get stronger. He's basically Vegeta from Dragon Ball.
That's good. Vegeta.
It's a lust for power.
You could argue Vergil takes the role of the villain at the end after Arkham is dealt with, but that's a stretch.
Well, DMC3 is a prequel, isn't it? It goes before.
Yeah, it's the series prequel.
Yeah, so that's right after the mom dies, it's not. Obviously, it's.
At that point, it's. I'm trying to do the math.
Well,
it's
they were
11
kids.
years after. It's 11 years after the massacre.
Yeah, so they've had plenty of time to grow up and do their thing. So, still a motivation for his. Anyway, let's keep going. Exton Zero, thank you, sir. Vergil isn't a great villain. Mundus is better. Mundus is an unrepentant bastard. Vergil just needs more power. His PNG is Undertale X Persona 5?
MangaKamen's avatar there, yeah.
Yeah, he
that's,
reminded me of some mix of Metaton and Azriel.
Oh boy.
Honestly, I can kind of
If you merge those.
My Italian fashion sense just sparked up. I went, "Nyeh."
Honestly,
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
now that you mention it, yeah, I can kind of see the Persona 5 in that thing.
Okay, well, let's keep going.
An unholy combination.
And I got a bigger dick.
Dear God, I'm gonna have to revisit that one soon.
You
But
don't
until
have
that
to.
Yamato appears
What?
on my side, I might as well talk about one of the highlights of the series, and that would be its villains. Most notably for this video, though... Vergil. Now, I'm aware there are people who won't want to consider Vergil a villain, especially in the traditional sense, but he is one of the major antagonistic figures in 2 of the games, and thanks to his actions have actually put the world in danger. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to focus on Devil May Cry 3, though I will bring up 1 and 5 slightly in this, but I do want to make a full-on
geez,
video
don't
on
lose
Vergil in
power.
the future, so if you're interested in that, consider leaving a like and comment.
Ah!
Yes.
That's not an
I know
argument.
It's super early in the vid for me to say that, but I
Is this just a fanboy and he wants to make a music video?
Yes.
That was
Basically.
He's a good villain because the music is fun.
Also, if you put out warning tags for spoilers, very good, very detailed. That was good.
Yeah.
Please also put one out for. By the way, I'm doing the super flashy lights.
That's yeah.
Which, by the way, you can actually do that in the game.
All right. Okay. This is a fanboy. We get it. Let's see how biased he is.
really want to do a Vergil video, and I want to make sure there's interest in that. Anyway, Vergil, the older son of the demon knight Sparta, and twin brother to protagonist of the series Dante, a skilled half-human, half-demon who possesses great power, but is on a mission for more of it. And in Devil May Cry 3, I found him to be an amazing villain. He has all
Why?
the elements that make a great villain, where
What?
he acts as a great contrast to the protagonist. While Dante in the game is
Okay, but that's like every character you're supposed to do in a
That-
story anyway.
And that doesn't need to be that's not the only thing that makes a great villain. You can have them without doing that.
Well, depending on your writing style, when you create a character, you contrast the side character or the supporting cast with the main character. You give them something unique about them. Even one thing is all you need. And the same with the villain. It's a slight perspective change, like 1 or 2 degrees, and those 2 degrees can start 10 years ago or 20 years ago, and as a result of that change, what happens. So it doesn't take much, but you have to explain what that is.
Look at the parallel great opera to the DMC Bayonetta thing, which is my all-time favorite, Asura's Wrath. Deus and Chakravartin are not opposites to Asura. The opposite to Asura is Yasha, who is to Asura's anger and wrath is melancholy and you want sloth, because that's the 8 guys. They're the 8 emotional states, and he worked for the other side, but joins Asura eventually by realizing, oh wait, what we did was actually not worth doing what we did, and that makes him not a villain. The actual villains are other people.
Yeah,
But they're all amazing characters in themselves.
I think the comparison, because they're brothers, there's so many stories we can look at that have brothers as rivals or even villains. But even back to the Sumerian epic, Gilgamesh is not treating his city very well of Uruk, and the gods punish him by sending him Enkidu, a wild man. And instead of them killing each other, they become best friends because they're so strong. And as a result, Gilgamesh becomes a better king. Enkidu is no longer a wild man. He becomes more tame. And they form a friendship. So it's a
The
necessity.
broship.
Yeah, it's a necessity. I don't see that with well, maybe he's going to explain it. I just don't see that because I remember DMC3. He's just a mini boss here and there, and then you get to play as him.
Well, Vergil's the rival, yeah.
Yeah, he's the foil to. He's another flavor of Dante, let's say.
Well, he's also the linchpin of the entire arc in that game.
Which is great when you get to play as him and see where his story goes. Anyway.
Well, no, it's his campaign is literally just reusing Dante's levels. There's not much there.
But that's the game. X and Zero again, thank you, sir. Why bring up DMC1 for Vergil under mind control? Yeah, I don't know.
I can understand why he can bring up DMC1 in this context in terms of Vergil, because there is a lot less than in 1 than in 3 or 5, but he does still play a decent role there and retroactively so, where it's like that's how Vergil ended up after the events of DMC3. And once again, that's the linchpin of Dante's arc in that game as well, where it's like the fact that he had to put his brother down again, and it was out of either of their control for Dante to do that in that instance. That just puts him further into the downward spiral of trauma that he's been going through in that portion of the series.
I really have to refresh my memory. I know there was a narrative. It was very loose though, and
first game.
Yeah. It was more like scary, cool mention.
Yeah. Well, again, carrying over a lot of stuff from Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was going to be the original RE4, and it just
it's too late to take any of it out. Yeah, it didn't match. It didn't match RE, and they made its own thing. That whole story we've talked about before, but by the time DMC became what it is, it was too late to change anything in a major way, so they just took all of it and ran with it.
Okay, 3 minutes in.
Is rash and embraces his humanity. Vergil is cold, calculating, and sees his own humanity as a weakness.
Why do you refuse to gain power? The power of our father, Sparta.
Father? I don't have a father. I just don't like you. That's all.
This contrast makes their rivalry personal and emotionally charged. And
Okay, so there's a contrast. That's it. That's fine. It could be any contrast. We get it.
that leads to the motivation that Vergil has, since his drive stems from a desire for control and strength, sparked from the death of his mother and how he was too weak to save her. It's a relatable motivation, but much like how a good villain is supposed to be, it takes that motivation and warps it. Does it?
Yeah, he's not wrong.
He wants to be stronger, so he eliminates... Well, that's in the 5th game. He eliminates his humanity, or tries to at least.
Well,
Yeah, he severs his demon form from his human form.
Yeah, but not in the 3rd game. He just
in
doesn't...
the third game. In the third game, the main drive of it is the fact that he is going through all of this just for the sake of gaining more power to prove that he's stronger than Dante. And yes, the original motivation for this was sparked from the fact that, yes, he was not there to do anything for their mother when the massacre happened over a decade prior. And that eventually just warps into just gaining power for the sake of it,
Yeah,
as is the case in DMC5.
And he wants to be stronger than Sparta, or at least stronger than his dad to some capacity. And he gets involved with Mundus and all that jazz.
Well, he's brainwashed by Mundus because he thinks he can beat Mundus. Like that's that whole post-credit scene in DMC3. If you kill 100 enemies during the credits, where his hubris blinds him to the fact that he simply cannot stack up against Mundus at that point.
All right, so he has a bit of an inferiority complex. He needs more power to be
A little bit.
powerful. He wants to be strong and secure. And
Wants to prove himself better than his brother.
Yeah. I mean, those are fine motivations. I don't think that makes a villain, though. Or a good
Like I
villain.
said, he's more of a rival than a villain.
Well, that's what
Another thing that influences things is the fact that part of why he wants to prove himself better than Dante is because Sparta basically left everything to Dante.
Well, they each had their own medallion, right? So they all shared an heirloom of their mom.
They shared the 2 amulets from Eva, and they also shared the 2 swords that Sparta left for them.
Yeah.
Though, as is implied later in the series, all of it was ultimately meant for Dante.
Yeah.
And that's what Vergil despises.
I just don't see the villain aspect. I see the rival aspect, no problem. So does rivalry make a good villain? Yes, it can.
In some cases, yeah.
But I don't think that's what makes
It's
a
not
good villain.
it's not a be all end all.
Yeah, I mean, I could change the ingredient for a good villain to love. They're brothers and they love each other a lot, but they have to fight each other. So it's, oh my God, that's so sad. That's so tragic.
No, they certainly do not love each other in this case.
But I'm just saying we could add that element of motivation, and the story would still continue. They'll still be fighting each other.
I mean, Dante has that a little bit after DMC 3 to the point where it's like when Vergil comes back, as much as he would want for Vergil to stop his crap, Dante knows that he has to put him down once and for all.
Yeah, I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that dark hero, anti-hero element where it's like he's like a hero, but because of that shift, he's slightly different, and you can call him an anti-hero, but he's not really. Well, even then, you could try, but he's not doing that just yet.
He only really gets into that position after 5.
After Nero knocks some sense into him.
Yeah. When he realizes, okay, this is trying to be strong is kind of pointless now.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, he's a fanboy. I'm sure he'll...
Pride nature occurs inner conflict, which adds layers to him. And obviously, he's pretty much the centerpiece of the entire story. Raising the Temen Negru is the driving force to the plot, and will actively force Dante to confront his own identity, and eventually coming to realize that he needs to accept the demon blood flowing through his veins. That's why DMC3 has the subtitle of Dante's Awakening. Of course, we can't forget the gameplay aspect of Vergil. This is a gaming-based video, so we do need to talk about the 3 major boss fights that he has, which arguably are one of the most well-designed boss fights in the entire game. The first fight, Vergil shows off his core moves, which has you test your base.
That's not an argument for being a villain.
You're just talking about, you're giving a surface level description of the boss fights.
Yeah. And this looks, cutscene, here we go.
I'll try it your way for once. Remember what we used to say? Jackpot.
Still awesome to this very day. The third and final fight is the real test of skill.
No, still talking. It's a cutscene. I like it. That's not an argument, sir.
Should be. And the thing is, Vergil is a tough boss, but he's a fair one. He has clear tells, which guys, since if you're going with button accepting a part of himself. Only instead of his demon half, Vergil finds the human side of him to be what holds him back.
Now, my soul is saying it wants to stop you!
Yeah, the voice acting's a little hokey.
Unfortunately, our souls are at odds, brother. I need more power. And we're supposed to be twins. Twins. Right.
Not from the same
But
egg.
because of that, he loses to Dante, who had accepted both his human and demon blood, falling into the depths of the demon world and eventually becoming a slave to Mundus, becoming a slave of Nello Angelo in the first game. And later on in DMC5, part of the whole element of that story is that Vergil successfully removes his humanity and becomes a full-on demon. Of sorts. Vergil has all the makings to what makes it a compelling and amazing villain in gaming. Personal connection to the main
a more
character.
demony demon.
Yeah, he's amazing because I said so? Like, what are you talking about?
Again, it's a very surface level description of the character.
What's the standard? I don't know where you're coming from, sir. He has good combat and good fight scenes, and I like his music, and
Maybe it's just that this character had this much of an impact on him.
I guess.
What is going on is that the fan is not judging the character by how he's written and the techniques involved for that. He can't see those. He describes and judges the character as if it was a real person and a biography of a real person, of a historic character. That's what it feels like when people like that talk about their favorite thing.
Or they're trying to exist in a magical world with demons and angels and whatever other magical things.
Yeah, so not that he believes that Dante is real, or Vergil is real, but the way he talks about it is as if this is not the creation of a writer and that there are not specific techniques involved in it, even though he names some of them. it's a very strange phenomenon, and you only have it in this fan gushing.
Yeah. Not what I was hoping for, unfortunately. Okay. 7 minutes in.
Backstory that gives him motivations, and not to mention, the guy's got some serious style.
Oh, Lord.
There we go again. You get it.
Bury the Light is a good song.
You like him.
Set a pretty high.
See, this is what I mean. The guy has style. No, he has a music video.
The girl has a really nice figure. Did you know she's attractive?
Vergil didn't make that video. Vergil didn't write that song. Vergil isn't the artist. He doesn't have a band.
The London Philharmonic.
He didn't write the music. He didn't write the lyrics. He didn't sing it.
Yeah, One Winged Angel from Final Fantasy VII has an orchestra behind it. Therefore, I like Sephiroth as a villain. Like, what?
Yes, Sephiroth, he really wrote great music there.
Right. Nobuo Uematsu is amazing.
You can like the theme.
Oh, that would be a correct thing to say.
Yeah.
Nobuo Uematsu is amazing. That would be
therefore
that's correct.
Villain
Real
good.
person.
Yeah.
Especially since Bury the Light actually does a good job of describing Vergil's character, suppressing his humanity in the pursuit of power.
Yeah, I get the motivation, and summarizing it in a piece of music is very effective and efficient for conveying an idea, and music is beautiful and faster than storytelling. I get that. But unless you're describing the lyrics in the music, then I don't know what you're talking about. You know, it's just a oh, I like the guy and he's got looks and he sounds good.
Bury the Light is a popular song, so it's good to stick it in there for the algorithm.
Yeah. Well, hopefully not to get flagged by anything, but yeah.
No, it's not. It's not copyrighted. Don't worry. It's not. Well, it's not. You know, or at least not.
You're not going to get nailed by Warner Music Group or anything like that.
Like you're not going to get nailed by the guy that made the song, Casey Edwards.
It does happen in our
not in this case, especially with the meme status that the song has.
We will find out in another week.
No, don't worry. In this case, don't worry.
It's pretty rare for game OSTs to get you with a copyright. The only time I've had an issue with that is with I Swear from Trails in the Sky.
Well, I mean, need we say Nintendo?
Yeah, I was about to say Nintendo too. Anyway.
Bars.
Okay.
Break a few eggs.
You know this channel. You know me. It has to be this way, and you don't want to fuck with this senator. Senator Stephen Armstrong is a great villain despite the lack of screen time, and is someone who has been recognized for years to be a memeable and entertaining character.
That's a nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
Ah, yes, the meme clip.
That I made it the fuck up.
You've got a hulking nanomachine-fueled badass who's a U.S. senator. Now, I don't know about you, but badass and politician don't
I
normally
vote for
click
him.
for me. But then you've got
I'd do it in a
Armstrong with
fucking
his
heartbeat.
bombastic personality.
Well, part of it is the fact that part of Armstrong's argument is like it's the fact that he's right with a lot of.
Yeah, it's like he's not saying anything wrong. It's just the man's batshit fucking crazy and is going about it the wrong way.
Yeah, the method is what's wrong here.
So long as he explains the motivation of Armstrong and why that makes him a good villain, that's what I want.
Yeah, because to give a little bit of a description here of like the context with this, it's like this game, Revengeance, is somewhat going off of Metal Gear Solid 4. This game takes place 4 years after Metal Gear Solid 4. MGS4 was so he hold on, trying to find the words. After Metal Gear Solid 4, the world moved on from nanomachines into cybernetics. And the way Armstrong is trying to prove his point is that he's hopped up on more nanomachines than anyone else in the damn franchise. Hence why he's so strong in this fight.
Going from nanomachines to cybernetics seems like a step backwards. But,
yeah,
I know, right?
But to Armstrong's credit, considering the absolute corruption and villainy in politics, Armstrong's approach is just pragmatic.
Yeah.
Fight fire with fire.
Or Lockheed Martin.
Well, nuclear bomb with fire.
Basically.
All right,
or nuclear bomb with nanomachines in this case.
Let's see what he has to say.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
oddly complex ideology, and a deceptively crafted boss fight. The legacy of
Okay, oddly complex. Give me some of that oddly complex ideology, please.
He
Senator
gets to
Armstrong
that.
proves that a villain like him can not only leave players awestruck, but also chuckling at his absurdity.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't fret over every egg.
Armstrong is a masterclass in video game
A master class. Here we go. What are you talking? Give me the actual class, and then give
Get
me
to the
the
point.
like. This is a masterpiece of a whatever. It's like, what? Give me a standard, sir. Then we'll talk about what makes it great.
villain. His charisma, even if he doesn't
He's charismatic. Does not make a good villain.
write his own speeches.
Well, I don't write my own speeches.
The
Wow.
moment we see this guy in person, actually see him face to face, he comes off as just one heartless bastard in a suit. And don't get me wrong, the guy is a heartless bastard in a suit, but when he rolls up his sleeves, that's when the insanity begins.
Let's go. The hell are you thinking?
All of a sudden, you got a corporate suit to a guy who's got enough muscles to make the Rock insecure.
So he's strong. That's what makes him a good villain.
He has
Yeah.
strong arms. That's why he's called Armstrong.
Oh,
In fact, they
boy.
even make a joke about that in this very interaction between these two. How he mentioned how he played football in college and said it wasn't some cushy Ivy League school, it was University of Texas.
Oh.
Did you get 4 Dutch towns in one go?
I don't know, honestly.
Slamming into the main character, who I may remind you is a highly advanced cyborg, and this politician is now wiping the floor with said cyborg badass that we've been playing throughout this game.
Okay, so the argument is the villain is stronger than the hero. That is a viable argument, that you need the protagonist to come against an opposition which is greater than they are. That could make a good villain. Tell me why, though. I know
Every
why.
Dragon, that means every Dragon Ball villain is great.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Give me a reason.
It's really a breaking experience to think that a politician could easily go toe-to-toe with a militarized cyborg. Then again, this is the Metal Gear universe. I've seen weirder things in this franchise.
Okay, that's not a good argument. That's like saying Hideo Kojima's insane. this villain.
That's putting it lightly. He put Pecora in Death Stranding 2 as a plot essential character. Hideo Kojima's a fucking nut job.
Well, yeah, but to make the argument, everything's crazy, but the one with the senator fighting the cybernetic assassin, that's okay. That's a good thing. Like, why?
Armstrong, from a narrative perspective, is what you'd call a puppet master, the manipulator who instills global conflicts so he can fund his political career. Also, he can end war. His goal is to dismantle of all.
Okay, so he has the classic.
Oh, so he is doing all the things George Soros is doing, but he's not doing them. Instead, he's doing the opposite. So
Well-
he is the antagonist to George Soros, which means he is the good guy.
Well, this is the classic villain argument of my war will be the last war because it's the just war and everyone will know it and everyone will
Yeah.
understand it and I'll kill all the bad guys. And we'll all be like this is what he's saying at least.
But Armstrong wants to end war as a business. Every time a war breaks out, politicians get rich. He wants to put a stop to that.
It's a
Vote, vote Armstrong.
It's a bit different in the Metal Gear universe after MGS4, where it is the war economy and it's all just machines, just calculating how much it's going to cost.
That was the case back in MGS4, but I think that's no longer the case by the time of Revengeance.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, because the Patriots AI was dismantled near the end of that game, which stopped the war economy dead in its tracks.
So now we're just talking in general as.
Yeah, but see, that's exactly the point. George Soros is only instigating chaos and destruction and war. Armstrong aims to end it. Huh?
Yeah,
there's still remnants of that.
I'm not familiar with who that is, honestly.
There is still remnants of that war economy, of that manufactured war economy after MGS4 that he is trying to get rid of the last vestiges of. But
right.
yeah,
it's the common argument from a lot of JRPGs I've played over the years, where the main empire is like, we are going to be the strongest and we'll crush everything around us, and then we'll have peace. Because there's no one else to fight.
Armstrong is even actively using people who want to reboot the war economy, like Sundowner, with the sole intent that Raiden is going to kill him.
Fun. See that?
I think, as far as I'm aware, if Sundowner had got his way, I'm pretty sure he would have been instrumental in restarting the Patriot AI.
See that could be a good excuse or a good argument for a villain, because the villain is giving the protagonist a necessary conflict that not only strengthens or gives the path for the protagonist to follow and figure out their ideas, but also strengthens his own arguments. This is why we talk about Gargoyles. Even though it's a show for kids back in the day, it had a really good character called Xanatos. And everything in every show, even though it was just Goliath...
A trope was named after him.
Yeah, every time Goliath beat up a bunch of robots that looked like gargoyles, Xanatos was collecting data. He's like, oh, look, this one got destroyed like that. Let me just write that down. And he was making a bigger and better robot so that the next time they would fight, they'd get stronger and stronger and stronger. That was called the Xanatos Gambit. That is what makes a cool villain, because he's doing things that have long, far-reaching consequences. He's thinking much bigger than your average plucky hero who just wants to stop the bad guys.
Yeah, what was it? What was the phrase from Gargoyles? Pay a man well enough and he'll walk barefoot into hell.
Oh, there's a lot of good lines. Yeah. That's people don't understand how awesome that show was unless you were a comic book nerd and you actually paid attention to like Spider-Man and X-Men. And
I
it was a good show to grow up with.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't much of a comic nerd, but I still loved Gargoyles as a kid. It was dark. It had a good story to it. I loved it.
And all the Star Trek voice actors. Yeah, it's great.
It had Keith David, for God's sake.
I know. Keith David, main character. All right.
It's like, you got this in the bag.
Give me any storyline, put Keith David the main character. I'm going to pay attention. Yeah, it's great.
Focus on the rule of strength to solve the issues.
I have a dream.
What?
That one day, every person in this nation will control their own destiny. A land of the truly free, damn it.
America, yeah.
A nation of action, not words, ruled by strength, not committee.
Yes, anti-communism. Very good.
Not the other way around.
And Senator
As it should.
Armstrong. Senator Armstrong, 2028.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Epstein didn't
Go
kill
for it.
himself. There we go.
It's like, oh god, what was it what was his name in BioShock? Play on words.
Yeah, it's with Armstrong, it's like it's a
Randy
case
Iron.
Andrew Ryan.
Andrew Ryan. Yeah, he's like Andrew Ryan, but with muscles.
And not a psychopath.
Andrew Ryan wasn't a psychopath. He was naive. He truly believed that everybody was capable of free will. That's why he gave you, the brainwashed puppet, the choice. But the brainwashing was stronger, and that's why you killed him.
A man chooses and a slave obeys.
A psychopath would not have given you that choice.
Yeah, that's Frank Fontaine, excuse me.
Anyway, back to America being awesome.
Have issues with how our governments work. The video in political-based paint and getting clipped out of context, I also think it's a safe bet that we all have our own ideas on how to improve a government body, while at the same
but that doesn't make a good villain.
time tearing down the previous establishment that has failed so many people in different ways.
Are you saying the villain is appealing to us because he's saying these things because we innately don't like or trust the government, and therefore what he's saying is like, yeah, we should follow this mentality?
In this case, yeah.
To politics. Is that makes a compelling character? Oh, he's an interesting guy. I wonder why he thinks that way. Not, oh, wow, he's a great foil, or he's a great target, or he's a great hurdle for the hero, unless Raiden was like the opposite of that and he believed in, like, I don't know, collectivism or something. And you'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But he's just saying, you don't like government and the average person doesn't. You're like, okay, sure.
You can see that there's a bit of a relatable motivation with Armstrong. Granted,
Yeah, I don't like this relatable argument. Oh, it's so relatable. He's a person. It's like, I don't care. What makes him a villain?
the only thing you should relate to Armstrong to, and who was willing to fund the removal of kids' brains and insert them into cyborg soldier bodies to have them be a military force. And that's a good thing. I mean, from a literary and villain standpoint, what makes Armstrong...
So because he wants to do horrendous things to children, yes, that does make him evil, but does that make him a compelling or good villain to the story?
At least a little bit.
Something he does in the story that's a part of his goals, not necessarily his end goal.
You can not like that aspect of him because it's horrific, for sure. But you can make the opposite argument, like he wants to give children a home and give them nutrition. And you're like, oh, I like Armstrong. He's such a good person. I mean, wouldn't that be more compelling than, oh, he wants to kill people and put their brains in robots? So, again, does that make him a good villain in the story? I don't know.
Honestly, Jetstream Sam makes for a good rival in this character because he actually challenges Raiden's goals and ideals.
Same way with Vergil, yeah. Well, not so much with Vergil. Vergil just wants to fight.
A great villain is that his motivations make sense, but because of his warped sense of pride and violent nature, he's twisted that motivation to be a...
Warped sense of pride. Okay, that could work. I like that. Pride is considered a sin, so to warp pride could actually make it a good thing, depending on the perspective. So
one's pride and vanity can blind them to reality.
Sure.
They're too caught up in themselves.
Yeah, this is what we say with villains. It's kind of like we take the hero, we twist them ever so slightly to the left or the right. We give them a vice that is sort of like their definitive quality, like pride or jealousy or rage or vengeance. And we just go through the motions of what would the end result be. So,
yeah, which works hand in hand with the fact that he's in the political position that he's in because of the fallout of the war economy post MGS4.
Which is an interesting idea by itself because it was such a goofy thing for MGS4 to start with that premise. And then
in MGS4, the world went to hell because of the war economy.
It was nuts. It starts off like, Snake is like, this is just all one big business. How do we?
As Snake himself says in the game, war has changed.
Right, and then it goes away. So it's like, okay, what do we do after the fact? Oh, we go back to just doing the same thing we did before with war, which is a bunch of politicians saying, "Let's go bomb Libya." Or
part of Armstrong's character is like his motivation is to try to nip that in the bud. He's trying to stop that from happening again.
Right, which is a compelling character and why you can like him, but it doesn't make him a good villain.
Which, mind you, is that was originally a result of the feud between Big Boss and Major Zero, but he probably, like most of the world, he probably didn't know that.
See, that would be an interesting argument for a villain in Metal Gear as a sequel, because it would make some sense with the philosophy of Major Zero and the philosophers. That you can make the argument for with this dude. Saying,
although again, like I said, this isn't a direct sequel to MGS4, but it is following from those events still.
Right.
And originally, it was going to take place between 2 and 4.
But then it was reconfigured to take place after 4. So,
right.
Because honestly, and with what we got, it fits a lot better.
It does. Although I would still like a game or story to fill the gap between 2 and 4.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's like Armstrong would not have worked at all between 2 and 4. He works best after 4 in the after the collapse of the war economy, which motivates his character and defines his character, leading to the fight with Raiden.
All right.
The ends justify the means element, where someone is willing to break whatever moral quandaries and humanitarian notions to fulfill their dream, quote-unquote. Armstrong is a mirror to the main character, Raiden, someone who throughout the game was also justifying his own bloodshed.
I was bringing that. I was talking about that earlier.
To an end, to protect those prey on.
Really? All those cyborgs you've killed up to now, maybe they weren't kids, but they were people. You ever think about them? When you're chopping them into hamburger?
They're adults. They made their choice.
It's just that wow. To a much higher extreme and something that the actual confrontation.
We're laughing at the line delivery there, but
the lack of
Jetstream Sam really does challenge Raiden, tells him to really listen to what they're saying because their cybernetics pop them up on so much adrenaline that they're just pure aggression. Their fear, their anxieties, their concerns for what comes after are still there.
There's no choice.
The way that it came across was his lack of confidence, explaining why he kills all those people. Well, they were involved in war, so I guess it's okay.
I've mentioned that I really like this game.
You don't let legal bullshit get in the way. And if it costs a few lives, so be it.
A lot of people have often just put this game as a slice and dice whatever you want with the over-the-top action thriller. But there is a lot of thought-provoking elements to the game if you really want to dive into it, especially when it comes to the bosses.
Like?
Oh no, if only there was a video that actually dove into how brilliant these bosses were, but where would we ever find something like that?
Can you share it with us?
He's just shilling another video he did.
Tell us why he's a good villain. Oh, look at this video. I don't care.
An hour and 22-minute video. Jesus Christ on a cross, man.
Maybe it's good.
Oh, maybe not.
Maybe he's... Look. Maybe in regards to mechanics analysis of video games, he knows more what he's talking about than in regards to the literary.
Yeah, so far, this is just, he's a good villain because I like him and I like the media surrounding him, and that's it. I'm like, okay, but what about the gameplay? What about the narrative that makes him a good villain? I don't know. Oh, he challenges the main character. He's stronger than the main character. Great, that's a good start. What does that mean? He's hard. Okay. So he's a hard obstacle. An obstacle is a start. All right. To do what, though? What is Raiden trying to do? Tell me that part of the narrative. Give me that slice of the chapter and just expand upon that, and I can go, I see where you're coming from. Not, he's cool. He has these beliefs. He wants to do this. It's like, yeah, okay, great. Every character has that, I hope.
Pointless shilling aside, I think it's safe to assume that there's a lot of political debate to be had when it comes to this character. That for the last 15 years, there have been numerous discussions about his political leanings.
Such as?
You kinda can't avoid talking about that since he does critique the real-world issues that our own world deals with.
Fuck all these lunatic lawyers and chicken shit bureaucrats!
Oh yeah.
While punching Raiden, I don't think that's a compelling argument.
You don't?
No.
I mean, Raiden is still at odds against him, so they're still very much in a fight. Armstrong is just explaining his motivations.
It's kind of hard to proselytize when you're punching someone in the face.
Yeah, but not impossible.
Oh, God.
Yeah, welcome to Platinum Games, Smud.
I love it.
Let me jump off a building and land on your legs. Like
Without breaking
the
them.
virtues of socialism. Like, what the hell?
Like Dante does that at the very start of DMC2, excuse you.
Who cares?
I still need to play that.
We need less of the constitution raping politicians we have and more Armstrongs.
Yeah, and that's basically Armstrong's point.
You know, you could
be Armstrong and go into politics.
You could be right, but I'm not convinced by this video.
I would like to point out that Armstrong says
another
"Make America Great Again," and this is before the Trump campaign. I just want to put that out there.
No. Fuck that America Great Again stuff. Make the world great again. All we need do is be Armstrong and get rid of the commies and the commies who pretend to be conservatives. Bam, solved.
So be America, you mean?
Well, what have you? Well, right now, yeah.
Maybe.
There's too many commies in my country to say America alone.
I mean, America let itself be played by the communists for over 100 years as well.
I know it.
Okay,
Just
so
think about it.
Be America with the Red Scare constantly going.
Yes, because it's not paranoia. They are actually evil. They just pretend to be good because that's the thing. If you go by the self-definition and self-presentation of every single person and movement and cult on the planet and throughout history, there are no bad people because everybody says, we are the good guys, we only want to help, we only want to make things better. And a lot of them aren't. A lot of them know they are lying. And that's why you need to learn how to distinguish that and figure that out and stop being naive.
Everyone's the hero in their own story.
No, it's worse than that. They actually lie. They pretend. They know they're not the good guys.
All
They
right.
are the Gua'uld.
We are at 12:35. We're more than a third done.
Celebrity bullshit!
Of course, when you're playing the damn game, well, these thoughts do go through your brain. You don't really have a lot of time to think about this unless you don't mind getting choke-slammed into the dirt. And that's because Armstrong is a very intricate boss, too, especially on the higher difficulties. Armstrong is a human tank, but the fight requires the player to engage with the mechanics of it, including the parry system and Zandatsu. That one is especially...
Wait, the hard mode forces you to engage with the mechanics.
The easy mode forces you to
fucking
engage.
who? That's the point. That's the point
easy-
of hard mode.
The easy mode forces you to engage with the mechanics. It's a platinum game.
Does it? No. What? That was bullshit. You just said complete bullshit. The easy mode in platinum games it's sufficient to button mash. The easy modes in platinum games even have an automate mode where you only need to hit the button and the character will just perform random combos that make sense in the situation that you can actually input.
Yeah, the normal modes, it's beneficial to go all in on the mechanics, but you have leeway.
Yeah, it's basically story mode. And but if you want to take the actual boss fight mechanics into account, which do add to the character because they have to be in line with that, that goes through all of that, then you need to explain those in their entirety and how those mechanics align with his character attributes and maybe with what he stands for. And in the case of Armstrong, that's the very point. That's what you could say here. He is a tank. You punch him 1,000,000 times and he does not even twitch because his conviction is so strong, he stands tall no matter what. That is what makes him so impervious and such a, if you fight him, such a threatening boss. Yeah, that's what you could say. Should say, maybe.
There is story explanation to that. The nanomachines respond to physical contact. They harden as a result to trauma.
Well, his nanomachines, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
forcing precision.
That's a physical explanation, but he wants to talk about the character, the writing of the character, and how that is reflected in the mechanics of the boss fight. The nanomachines aren't that important for that.
I wish that
they're just the explanation of why he has the superpower.
It's like at the very least, you to understand him a bit better, you at least need to know a little bit of the events of MGS4 to understand where Armstrong is coming from.
Oh yeah, I think a backstory would help. This is all convoluted stuff anyway. So,
I mean, if you play MGS4 and then play this, you know why he's doing the things he's doing.
Oh yeah, I just want the YouTuber to explain the difference between the gameplay, the cutscenes, and the actual storytelling of Armstrong, and then say, okay, these are the elements you can appreciate the character, and this is how these character elements make him a good villain, and this is the conflict that is addressed through the game, through gameplay, through narrative, etc. Then we go, okay, here's our standard. Even if he doesn't know what the standard is, he at least separates those three things. I would like to have seen that or something like that. He's just saying, wow, this is great, and he's a really good tank, and you're like, okay, he's got a role, he's got a class. Not quite understanding that. I do understand it from a protagonist perspective, but not from a villain perspective.
I mean, like, to go back to the point about the mechanics having narrative presence in a fight, we had the example of Vergil earlier in DMC3 where in the first fight with him, like 2/3 into the fight, his hair reacts to the rain where it comes down and he looks just like Dante because they're twins. And in the second fight, he starts off with Beowulf, but then halfway through the fight he goes back to Yamato because Dante's kicking his ass while he's using a weapon that he barely knows how to use.
Okay. Again, I wish we had more detail from the YouTuber to get this idea. But when you want to define and clarify and categorize a thing, you start with your ideas and you separate them and you clarify the ideas themselves. Then you express them through an example, like take your favorite story, like Prince Humperdinck and Princess Bride. Like, why is he a good villain? What makes him a compelling character? Why does he work so well in the narrative? And he's barely in the narrative. The story of Princess Bride is mostly about Wesley and Inigo and Fezzik and, well, Buttercup.
Yeah, Buttercup. Thank you. I couldn't remember her name. I knew it was kind of a silly name like that.
Yeah, and he's just sort of there to just track them down, and his motivation is to start a war, but that's barely in the story. It's barely there. It's always about trying to find Buttercup and save her, and then Inigo steals the show. He's the best foil for that story. He's basically a Wesley version if his life went a bit different.
It gives the implication that he could be he had his own story. He could have his own fairy tale.
It is.
Yeah.
It is brought up.
Because he went, in order to become the Dread Pirate Robert, he had to go through his own ordeal.
Oh, yeah. That's its own story itself. And it's lightly touched upon in the sequel, in the Buttercup's Baby. But it does go into Inigo in that story as well, to some degree.
I didn't know Princess Bride had a sequel.
Written format. And, well, actually, you know what? Apparently we're getting a sequel. Not Buttercup's Baby, unfortunately. An actual movie sequel. So,
yeah.
Not a good idea. Anyway, never mind that.
Get through the fight without getting your ass handed to you. How symbolic it has to be this way for the fight is, and there's a good representation of the conflict between Raiden and Armstrong, but it's still just a really great song regardless. Wrap all these elements together and you got a villain who's memorable on various levels. A
villain who's memorable because the music is symbolic. Okay, I mean, that could work.
I mean, absolutely fits the theme of the conflict between Raiden and Armstrong, but explain why.
I like the music. You're like, why?
That's the point of the boss music every time.
Amazing. There's just one last thing to say about Armstrong, really.
I was wrong. You're not greedy.
He's so happy.
You're insane.
Good fight. Okay.
You're batshit insane!
All right.
I don't think Pledge of Demon is grammatically correct.
That scene is all you really need to see how glorious Daisaku Kuze is. In the neon-lit world of Yakuza 0, where real estate battles spark gang wars against you, and people with too much free time and doing some of the most absurd things.
I can 100% believe that this is the real Japanese crime scene.
Game, this lieutenant of the Dojima family sticks out in your mind, especially since he's relentless with his determination, which makes sense since the guy's a former boxer, and he's willing to get back at you after you made him look like a fool.
Okay, so he has a personal vendetta against the main character. You're getting somewhere here. Okay. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, when you're forced to lose a pinky to some snot-nosed punk, you definitely will cause some negative feelings. Especially when you're a man of pride and honor, where he fights not for power, but to prove his worth in the cutthroat world of the Yakuza. Kuze is one of the driving forces of the plot in the entire game, where he acts as a major player as one of the Dojima family lieutenants.
Okay, that's good. That's a main villain, or a main driving force of a plot is the villain. That's fine. Good start.
Where he's orders under the head of the Dojima family, where Kiryu would be forced to take the fall for a murder that threw a wrench in the plan of the Dojima family of acquiring the vacant lot. It's a whole thing. It's play the game. The game here is you can...
No, tell me. What's going on? There's a whole plot, so I don't know what it is.
Worthless.
Tell me why. Why does the plot matter? You gave us two good reasons. He's a driving force, and he has a honor issue with the main character that caused him to lose his honor or whatever. Good. That's a good start. What does it mean?
confront Kuze at 5 different times throughout it, and despite him being a former boxer past his prime, Kuze is still a very capable fighter. Fast hooks, uppercuts, and even illegal moves like elbow strikes make Kuze to be a harsh force to reckon with. He serves as a wake-up call for new players, forcing them to actually engage with Kiryu's style of fighting due to the lack of grabbable objects in the combat zone. And every time you fight him, he raises the stakes, like using a metal pipe in the iconic second boss fight in the sewers, or using steel knuckles after that. But what really sells Kuze is performance and design. Hitoshi Ozawa is a veteran of the Yakuza films, and with his gravelly voice and unhinged yells, he sells the intensity of the character, and it makes every encounter super cinematic, amped up by the iconic theme, Pledge of Demon. A pounding rhythm that enhances the fight's stakes.
Again, we're getting into media without, like, he started off so well. Now it's like, look at the fighting. He has brass knuckles. Then he has a lead pipe. I'm like, okay. He gets stronger. He uses different stuff.
He has things.
He uses tools to try and stop the main character. Like, okay. Good, I think. Is that an adaptation of the story? Is the story developing? Is it people now develop weapons as the story progresses and you have to learn how to use the weapons and the character goes on a journey to learn to use the brass knuckles or what? I don't know. That could be a good argument.
A lot about what is honorable, quote-unquote, in the Yakuza. It's something that Kiryu himself believes in, that there's some level of honor in being a Yakuza.
Okay, this is good. So both characters, protagonist and antagonist, believe in the same things. The antagonist lost that sense of honor in some weird deal and sees the main character as the villain, whereas he's the hero of his story. That could work. Fine.
Loyalty and respect. It's just a dark and twisted version of the Bushido Code.
How?
Yeah, why is that bad? Or why does that make him a good villain? Like, who cares?
No, you have to explain how it is a twist of the Bushido Code.
Right.
Of Bushido.
It's honor bound, but again, what does that mean?
That's slowly being phased out. An element of the main character, Kiryu represents said values heroically. To Kuze, killing in the Yakuza is not something to be done lightly, not without a good enough reason.
Seraph, we're getting background from you.
Okay, so he's a good villain because we like his character because he's not bloodthirsty. He stops characters in the story from being as such. He's a likable guy, essentially.
You see, Kuze is a dying breed in the Yakuza, as highlighted by his fellow lieutenants Awano and Shibusawa, both of whom are willing to do things that aren't so honorable, even with Yakuza standards. Meanwhile, Kuze's motivation is to rise to the ranks of the Tojo clan and restore the honor he lost when Kiryu kicked his ass, and subsequently lost his honor with his pinky. It's why when you fight him for the last time, he explains that he's not here for the Yakuza. The only thing that's driving him is his pride.
Okay. So is that related to his honor, or is that only his pride that he cares about now?
Pretty sure it's just the pride. I don't know much about Yakuza.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to say. He's all about honor. He's the last of his kind. He's the boss of his division. And now it's like, no. He's just about pride. You're like, what? That's interesting. What happened there?
Kuze as a villain is one who, while his hands are dyed in crimson, he is an honest character. He's a villain who has conviction to rise to the top of the Yakuza, restoring his honor and fight with his own two hands. He's essentially the kind of Yakuza that our protagonist Kiryu views in a romanticized way. The traits of honor, loyalty, strength, and respecting the family. In a world of darkness and crime, while Kuze certainly is nowhere near being a good guy, he's a Yakuza that would be the best of the best in hell. Also embodying the best of the game, unyielding, dramatic, and unforgettable, acting as the spark that would awaken the dragon of Dojima.
Okay, so he's a likable character, and he just happens to be in opposition because of the events of the I guess the intro or whatever that happened in the past, for him to oppose the main character. See, this is fair. This is a fair assessment, but this doesn't sound like it's an analysis. This just sounds like this is what happened in the story. And by the way, he believes in honor. He believes in this and that. You're like, okay, yeah. So it's fine. And if that's all it is, then it's a self-explanatory, understood argument, because it's all surface level. You don't have to go into too much detail of the themes and what's the real motivation and what is he trying to do. So that just sounds like a good story or a good character in a story that makes sense. That's it. You don't need much to make a good story. You just got to explain it to the audience in a simple way.
Hate. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since
It's Harlan.
I began to live. There are 387.44 million miles of printed circuits in wafer-thin layers to fill my complex.
This section could honestly be its own video, since I'm focusing more on the aspect of artificial intelligence with these villains along with another aspect. Why? I don't know. Maybe I'll make a more detailed about them in the future, since this one will only scrape the surface of why they're great. These three villains fall into the vein of AI villains. And no, I'm not talking about the AI that will one day replace me as a creator, produce something not slop, but the AI that will do what it can to destroy the human soul.
So, what AI is
it's already doing that.
Sad thing about that joke is that we're getting closer and closer to that
English.
point of Skynet now. First from System Shock 2 is Shodan, the god-complex AI who thinks humanity is nothing more than meat and bone. Her glitchy voice haunts players as her horrendous human experimentations run to kill the player. And to make matters worse, she's not just a villain, she's the environment, always watching, always one step ahead. Then we have Am from...
Okay, so Shodan is the AI, you're the main character, or the main villain or pretty much the main character as well, in System Shock 2. He's not wrong about those things. Is it self-explanatory? Yes. Is it deep? Not really. So I guess that's fair. But all they're describing is the villain is the setting, and it's a survival horror style game. So I guess that's all you need. If everything is the one character, like the setting is the character, and they're creepy, and they say creepy things, and they scare you, and that's the genre, then okay, yeah, it's doing what's on the tin, right? It's designed to do what's on the tin, and it makes it a good game. So, simple enough. This one's a bit more complex.
And I Must Scream, a former war supercomputer that gained sentience and went full-on sadist, wiping out all of humanity and keeping 5 poor souls to torture them for the remainder of eternity with twisted psychological nightmares. A being of pure hatred in digital form, a villain who's not just one, but also wants to make people suffer. And finally...
Okay, to explain the story of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, there was World War III. It was USSR versus America versus China. They made these 3 supercomputers that were AI called AM. And one of them got really smart, took over the other 2, and blew up humanity. And because they were designed to kill the enemy, they decided to kill everyone, and that's all they're doing. So they immortalized these 5 people, and they keep them alive to torture them and go on quest to find tins of food. Essentially, that's the whole story. It's a little bit more complex than that, but it's essentially a horror story.
Axed on Zero says that the AM envies humanity.
I don't know about that. They hate humanity. You could argue...
Well, hate and jealousy tend to go hand in hand.
envy leads to hate, but hate isn't necessarily built on envy.
The one thing it does care about humanity is because humans can walk and move around because the AM system is just built into the Earth. It can't go anywhere. So it's stuck with all its circuits and all its machines. So there's no body, there's no like physical independent body. It's just this whole network. So that's what it likes about humanity, as far as I remember the story. So it wants to put people, the 5 people they keep immortal, on quests to do the things that they want, like extra food or whatever. They're emaciated, and they put them on quests where one guy doesn't like a certain thing and he has to deal with it. They can't kill each other because there's no opportunity to do so. It's body horror. It's a lot of other things. So what makes AM a great villain? Very similar to the setting of System Shock 2. It's the same idea, just on a global level.
2. Out of the 3, he's probably the most charming of the 3 AIs, with him starting out as a bubbling robot buddy who helps you guide through Aperture Science's puzzle chambers. But the moment this guy gets a little taste of power, he turns paranoid, a chaotic tyrant, sabotages.
No, he always was. If you have any life experience or know any book psychology, you could have foreseen Wheatley's power trip a mile away.
Even if you just
because
pay attention
that's how people like him act when they gain power.
Yeah, even if you just pay attention to the story, just given his whole personality and mannerisms, it was obvious he was going to get drunk on the power of the Aperture facility.
That's what I just said.
Surprisingly incompetent schemes. He's an underdog villain that comes out of nowhere, and that's what makes him great. But you may be wondering, why are these...
So underdog villains are immediately great?
The underdog that is super strong, who is a opposite reflection of you. Yeah, that's where we are.
I think if he explained...
Who's also an AI.
Yeah, I think if he mentioned there's just this bumbling sort of friend, and then as the story continues, he gets more and more abilities, or he unlocks stuff for him to do, and then suddenly he's in charge of GLaDOS, I think, or whatever the system was, and then he becomes the villain. It's like, oh, that's a good, like, it's a twist. Like, he has to explain the narrative element of the twist and why that's goes from friend to villain and why that's interesting and why that works in a narrative. I want him to say that. So it's not just, he's your friend, and then he becomes... No, explain why that works. What's the drama of that? Do you like the character? Why do you like the character? Why is he acting the way he does? What's the climax of the story? Is that it, or is there another one? What's the motivation? Because obviously the I think it's Chell, or the main character, is just a voiceless shell. You know, it's not designed to be...
You understood the pun.
Yeah. So... there has to be something with the villain or any of the narrative, like a voiced character, that is compelling. And because the whole story is told through his and I think GLaDOS's voice, or there might be another voice in there, that's all you got. So your brain is just, narrative, dialogue, one character, 2 characters, and then one of those characters becomes a villain. It's like, whoa, that is like... sort of not hand of God, but voice of God telling you a story, and then the narrative just changes to I'm a devil. Like, holy shit. That is what can be compelling and works. Like, oh my God, it's evil. That is what he should have gotten into. Not he's funny and then he has power and he becomes evil. It's like, okay, so.
Wheatley was designed as a core of incompetence to hinder GLaDOS.
Interesting. See? That sounds something like, oh, that's weird. Like, how does that work? Yeah. All these things he's missing.
Well, Shodan, she wants to transcend you. She's the driving force behind System Shock 2's survival horror vibe, which has the player scavenge and hack under her every watchful eye. You're haunted by her influence from almost every audio log and mutant you face. Am has a similar feel. The world you're trapped in is his omnipresence in it. He's always around watching you, creating a suffocating sense of helplessness. You can almost feel the hatred seeping from the screen, and it helps that each of the characters you play has a personalized torture chamber that exploits their deepest flaws, something that Am takes so much joy out of doing. And Wheatley? Well, he's got the charm and humor that makes his betrayal all the more stinging when it happens. Sure, he takes over Aperture Science, but it's more like his incompetence turns the test chambers into death traps. He's not particularly evil per se. I mean, it can be argued.
No, he
it's
is
more like
actually
giving a monkey
evil.
a shotgun, which is more unpredictable. Throw in his rivalry with GLaDOS, and you got proof that villains don't need to be scary to be unforgettable.
What Wheatley is a vulnerable narcissist, and that is all you need of the Dark Tetrad. He is real evil.
Notice one aspect of these villains, it's that their presence is with the players throughout the entirety of their games. You can feel the gaze of Shodan, the depressing wrath of Am, and Wheatley's comedic panic. The three feel like they're actually alive in their games. They all have personalities that the players actually interact with throughout it, even if they don't really know it. They challenge.
Well, yeah, they are the narrator in a sense. And when you change the narrator, obviously you're going to get a shock to the audience. And when the narrator reveals or is an active character in the story, then when they change their attitudes, the whole narrative changes. So that's a whole change. Like, even if the vibe is still survival horror or depression or I believe in I Have No Mouth, it's post-apocalyptic. So it's like it's already as low as it gets. And how much lower can you get when you find out what he's trying to do to you or going to do the main character? So tone is important there. Pacing is very important because it's a very slow slog in some cases. I think the Portal games are pretty fast. They're not too long. So maybe a few.
Their Portal games are relatively short.
Yeah, a few, like 6 or 7 hours, something like that. So
condensed quality.
Yeah, so that experience is very intense for a certain game style. That is what we should be talking about. Is why is it compelling? Well, you only have a certain amount of time to experience it, and what you get is an intense experience of horror, of betrayal, of whatever. So I would have liked to have seen that, because there's lots of scenes of, I think, escaping in Portal 2. You have to run really quickly and get the hell out of there because things are blowing up on you, which is contrasted by the puzzles.
Yeah, and the later part.
Yeah, which is contrasted by the puzzles where you get to think and pause and sit around. And, okay, how does this thing work? So that would be a good argument.
Bit of a tangent. Have you ever played the VR version of Portal?
No.
It's its own little campaign. It's really fun.
Cool.
I think I remember seeing a VR game for Portal on the store.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Well, you do need a VR thing for, but it is fun because it uses cover and everything. Cool.
Was that before or after the Alex? Was it DLC for the VR games? I can't remember what it was called.
I don't know that.
Okay.
I only played it at somebody else's place. But there's also if you like Portal, well, if you like Portal at this point, you know. But for anybody else who hasn't played a lot of Portal, only cursory, check out Portal Stories Mel. It's a fan game that got official sanctioning.
Yep.
Nice. Good to see Valve not crushing fan games.
I mean, a lot of their practices nowadays are founded on their community.
Yeah.
Valve is usually pretty good about fan-made material.
I mean, hell, they literally greenlit a fan remake of Half-Life 1, and as far as I'm aware, that game, Black Mesa, is the canonical version of Half-Life 1 now because of that.
I mean, it's definitely the definitive way to play the game.
Yes.
We must ensure the longevity of Gabe.
Which we have developers of Half-Life Alyx on record saying that they started with Black Mesa to refresh their knowledge on the series. So that says a lot.
Cool.
you, scare you. They make you laugh at times, but at the same time, they raise questions about AI, power, humanity, and the glory of space. These villains
So themes.
don't just drive the plots of their games, they define them, and that's what makes them great. Even more so that the players can spend a lot of time with them.
Okay, so driving the plot and defining the plot are two different things, especially considering the main character is, well, in these two games, mute. Whereas I have No Mouth and I'm a Scream, there was one main character with 4 supporting casts, I believe. But the same fate happens to everyone. So, a little different experience.
And you don't even realize it until...
Okay.
This one is going to be super spoiler heavy, so if you're not interested in that...
I have a vague feeling that word is written differently.
The horror of mundanity. Yeah, it's a bit of a sentence.
Mundanity?
Not familiar with Persona 4 or Golden. Thankfully, YouTube has given us chapters, so you can just scroll down and skip. I'll give you a few seconds before we go on to continue.
If you haven't played Persona 4, it's a great game.
I can't comment on this much.
I haven't played 4, but I know the general premise.
It's the fun one.
Alright then, so, time for the big reveal. The big bad of Persona 4 is...
You're always so strict at the station, but you're a cool dad inside, huh?
Shut up, Adachi.
Adachi. So, if you're not familiar with Persona 4, the entire plot revolves around
It's actually
murders
written
that
like
occur
that,
on
damn.
foggy, rainy days, with the victims showing up on what is called the Midnight Channel before they disappear and only found again when dead. The game revolves around saving possible victims who most of the time join up with your party and help solve the cause of these murders and the person who's causing them. To save some time and not completely spoil everything in the game's story, the real culprit is Adachi, a police detective transferred from the big city to the small town of Inaba. Adachi as a villain is a fascinating case when you really boil down the character, because he's just a simple guy for the most part, with his actions driving the plot of Persona 4 without actually overshadowing it. He's more
Well, it's a mystery, so no one knows this. It happens right at the end.
a catalyst for the event.
As I said, I looked up the word he used. It's mundanity.
Oh, he spelled it wrong? Okay.
It's mundanity.
What?
Mundanity?
Get a screenshot and put it in the chat.
Why? Why? I already looked it up. I was surprised it's actually written like that.
Yeah.
Well, when you say mundanity, you're referring to the state of mundanity or mundaneness.
Things are just mundane, bland, boring, dull.
That's fine.
We would say profane.
And it really all stems from our single motivation, and that would be human flaws. Boredom, entitlement, resentment. He's a low-ranking detective in a hick town, putting all that time and effort into becoming a policeman just so he could carry around a gun. I want to point out that Adachi is a sick individual, especially when we see his encounters with the first 2 victims, both of which are women, and yeah, I'm sure you guys can put 2 and 2 together from that. When he doesn't get what he wants, he just throws them into the TV world and allows the shadows to do what they do best. Kill. I think what makes Adachi a really good narrative-based villain is how he really encompasses the opposite philosophical weight of the game. Persona 4 as a game has a lot of themes, a lot of optimistic values like friendship and truth, and hell, one of the most iconic battle themes basically reinforces that.
Truth is not altruistic. I don't think you know what that word means.
Truth is pretty objective.
There's a lot going on in Persona 4 for ideas and characters. He was okay. Now he's jumping into music, which, yes, there's poetry in the music lyrics, I agree, but it's going to be very confusing now because it's all English from the Japanese vocalists.
The bosses are good because music.
Yeah. Like, that sounds like the Homo Men. Like, it's just so hilarious, these lyrics. So, it's just...
Yeah.
This is not the right song to use to explain Adachi, so.
It's pretty much one of the prevailing themes, and Adachi flies in the face of that. His nihilism, believing that life is meaningless and people are hypocritical, highlight this.
Let's be honest. There's nothing great about the real world, is there? It's just
So the idea is that there's this magical realm called the Midnight Channel, and certain people can go into the TV world, which is the Midnight Channel at that time, and there's all the demons and whatever devils are running around. This is the what if I abuse that guy? That's all it is. It's just a guy, hey, I found a really cool thing in my boring life. I can do stuff in this world and I can get away with it. That's it. That's the basic villain. It's a simple premise, nothing complicated, and it happens to be this guy who has access, and for whatever reason, the gods gave him access to the Midnight Channel.
Well, no one accepts that's the way because they can't deny it either. Those who actually succeed in life, they just happen to be born with a magic ticket called talent. If you don't have it, you can either accept or deny that fact until you die. That's your only choice. Once you realize that, all you have left in life is despair. The ultimate game over.
It's also reflected in the play.
What you achieve through talent isn't achievement. Just saying.
Yeah.
If you're not an antisocial freak like me, more often than not, the protagonist will build bonds with people to uncover the truth, creating connections and friendships on the process. Adachi, though, rejects these sorts of things, embracing isolation, and Persona 4 Golden allows the player to glimpse into Adachi's psyche, seeing his mindset much more clearly. What also makes Adachi rather stand out is that he has mundanity to him, that he's just an average everyday guy on the surface to the point where most people around him are unaware of the darkness that lies underneath. And that's what a lot of evil people are like. They have this mundanity to them that makes you unsuspecting of their true nature, and to have a villain like that really works well. It's safe to say that there are quite a variety of villains in the world of gaming, and I've barely scratched the surface of any of them. To me, a villain in gaming needs to have so many qualities to it. They need to be memorable. They need to stand up from the rest of the bosses and bad guys. They need to have charm, charisma, or a level of threat to them to make them effective.
They need to be effective, yes, but they don't necessarily need those elements. It's like the villain needs to be, or a villain needs to be strong or stronger than the main character in some way. So, or else the main character will have nothing to oppose. It would be a cakewalk for them. So, yes, that is an element of it, but why does that work? And how it's played out is very important to the story, or else it's not going to make sense if, you have a weak tennis player, but he's really good with a certain technique or a maneuver or a backhand, or, it's like, okay, well, is that the rivalry? Is he evil? Does he cheat? What does he do? What makes him an effective foil or an effective conflict with the main character? We have to understand the nature of the genre, the setting, and the two characters, protagonist and antagonist, to designate one of them as the villain. Because you can like either. You can like the motivations for both. You could hate the motivations for both. But what makes the villain? I want to know. All he's listing is things I like and things that are compelling in any kind of character who happens to be the opposing force. That's all. And if that's all it is, then great. They just say that. But in all these stories, especially at Persona 4, there's a lot going on. And he sort of touched upon that, especially with Golden, where you can build a social link with Adachi, which is hilarious because anyone who's played the original game knows Adachi's the villain. So it's like, oh, I know what's going on here. I see what the writers want to do. They want to flesh out this mundane guy more and give us more motivation to understand him better, which is fine. But it's sort of an argument after the fact. It's like, I know this. I know the mystery. I've read the book. You're just giving me DLC, essentially.
You can actually get an ending with Adachi and Golden.
Well, yes, and that's very controversial because there's usually a bad ending in all these games. And I think there already was one with Persona 4, but this one really is really bad, considering, because Persona 4 was the happy story. Persona 3 was the depressing one, suicidal thoughts and ending the world, blah, blah, blah. Persona 4 was like, I'm with all my buddies at a summer retreat because I'm away from Tokyo and we're all in this little town together, so let's make the most of it. And oh my God, there's my friend on the TV and he's running around trying to seduce girls. You're like, what the hell are you doing? So there's all these fun little antics that you can get into, and you address personal issues. And Adachi's was loneliness and being in this hick town with no one to talk to and be friends with. Persona 5 is a mix of all that, changing people's minds by jumping into their palaces and stealing their hearts and all this silly symbolism, but stylistic as hell. So you could talk about the villain in that one as well, in the same way as Adachi is.
Be able to... I'm sorry, I just realized we've still got a lot of time left on the video. Do I really ramble that long in my conclusions nowadays? This just
Conclusions?
Mommy?
Hades? Who's Hades?
Look, just like the villain we're about to talk about, I wanted to throw a last-minute curveball because I've been wanting to talk about this guy for a long while. Hades of Kid Icarus Uprising. And the thing is, until his introduction, Hades is in the shadows, not even mentioned. It isn't until you beat the original big bad of the game, Medusa, in Chapter 9 and the credits start rolling that Hades makes his introduction.
Congratulations! I know it wasn't always easy.
Oh, but it was so worth it. With the world at peace again, even the sun feels warmer.
Aw, you're so cute, Pit.
Now wait just a second.
Huh? Did you hear something?
I said wait just a second.
Got to be hearing things.
Hades?
Who's Hades?
The true master of the underworld.
Sorry to keep you waiting, but now that I'm here, let's get this party started.
I love this sort of thing.
What was the point of rolling that twice?
Well,
yeah, he was just setting up talking about Hades. He just wanted to do the joke that the game did.
Yeah, this is the stinger.
He just showed the same clip twice.
Yeah,
basically.
So if you guys know what a stinger is, it's what happens at the end of credits of a movie. It's like that little 30 seconds or 1 minute of whatever like happens in Avengers and a bunch of other Marvel films. So this is the same thing in a video game where it's a fake credits or a fake ending, and then they reveal a new boss. Like,
well, Hades in this game is a jab at the concept of the twist villain.
Yes, like with
because he literally comes out of nowhere.
The example of, was it Zeromus from 5 or
like the darkness in Final Fantasy 9.
Zemus. Yeah. Well, at least Zemus starts getting mentioned like the moment you first step on the moon, though.
Was it?
It's like it's not. Zemus doesn't show up like in the credits. Like it's like the moment you first show up on the moon, like goddamn, the old man starts telling you about Zemus being the mastermind behind everything.
Or the final witch in Final Fantasy VIII. Or we can go on.
Yeah, there's always the villain in the last 10 minutes that pops up and I'm the real villain of the story. It's like, oh.
Who are you again?
Where did you come from? Yeah, that's a problem.
And this game is just taking the piss out of that.
I don't know. It seems to be doing exactly the same thing, I guess, but in a goofy way.
Except it's the halfway point of the game, and it's just Hades as a scene-chewing ham who doesn't really take anything seriously. He's just there to get there.
Fusoya, that's who I was talking about. Damn.
It is halfway through I thought it was near the ending. Okay, fair enough. Interesting.
Well,
typically when you see a last-minute...
Well, Zemus' first physical appearance is literally at the very fucking end.
Yes.
Not everyone can be Void Terminator.
But he was being mentioned that, like, right as you get to the moon. But anyway.
Yeah.
Twist like this, where there's a real evil mastermind that just shows up out of nowhere in the last second, taking credit for all the work the original baddie did. It's a trope that a lot of people take issue with. It's like the aha, but it was actually this guy who you've never seen or met before. But this sort of thing I dislike in media and storytelling. Why does Hades get a pass? Well, it's the execution and the aftermath.
What an accomplishment. Goodness, you should put this on your resume.
Hades is a huge dramatic ham, blending humor and dread. And
so it's ham-fisted. Okay. It's goofy, therefore it's okay.
I mean, Hades is a memorable villain. He's a funny villain. He's an entertaining villain.
If the story...
And again, Zeromus had more build-up than Hades.
Yeah,
Zemus did this first.
Yeah, if the Kid Icarus game was a goofy romp that sort of played with tropes and broke the fourth wall here and there, then okay, this is acceptable. But if it's like it comes out of nowhere, it changes the tone, it feels off, then that would not be a good villain. That would be breaking the narrative, and you're just making another frame for the sake of, haha, it wasn't me, it was this guy, haha. It's just this stupid...
Kid Icarus Uprising is just kind of a goofy game right from the get-go.
Like the example he showed just before, without commenting on it, in Zootopia, where the youths were instigating a race war.
By flooding
secretly.
the ghettos with drugs.
What a strange message.
What did Disney mean by this? Many people have made that joke, but it's like, wow.
That's not a joke. That is ham-fisted.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to correct myself. Final Fantasy 1 did it first with Chaos, where it's like the game builds up the last trip to the Chaos Shrine, and you think it's going to be another rematch. It's going to be a rematch with Garland, and then he turns into Chaos at the 11th hour.
Yeah, okay. A lot of JRPGs do this.
It's okay, and it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, even last bosses from, was it Final Fantasy 12, where it's just some guy, it's just some politician dude that you've been known about, and he's a pushover. And you're like, oh, it's that Tyler, or whatever his name was. I can't remember his name. But you're powering up, you're doing all those side quests to get stronger, and then you just fight this guy, and he's already a pushover. Like, what the hell was it? That was the last boss.
I mean, if he's, I don't feel like that should work for a final boss, but an antagonist who's been giving you nothing but grief throughout the entire story. At the end of their arc, climax, whatever, it's just a pushover you can beat the ever-loving hell out of, can be cathartic.
Yeah, think of Senator Armstrong just being a guy. He's just a guy. There's nothing strong.
I was thinking of Scarlet from Final Fantasy VII. I think her name was Scarlet.
Armstrong is just a guy. He's just hopped up on nanomachines.
Well, that's what I mean.
I think her name was Scarlet. The bitch that tortures Tifa in Final Fantasy VII. I think her name was Scarlet.
I think.
Yes. From Shinra?
Yes.
But again, to go back to Hades, like, he is a straight up, you could say, parody of the concept of the twist villain, because he comes in during the credits for one more boss fight. With no build-up whatsoever.
Only it's just the second half of the game.
Okay, in that case, you could say that the idea of the boss fight is innovative or unique to this game, not as a villain, but just as a character to interact with and fight as a boss. So
more or less.
Yeah, because the motivation, you don't have time. I'm the real villain. Ha ha ha. It's like, oh, like there's no explanation. There's no build-up. It's just, by the way, Hades is the real villain. You're like, oh, okay.
I mean, Hades actually does give an explanation in his entering monologue. He's the one that reassembled Medusa.
Yeah, I know.
And just made her appear as the antagonist, just for him to show up in the end after they kill her.
Because for the record, this Uprising is a direct sequel to the NES game.
Oh, really?
Yes, you beat Medusa at the end there, she dies, and then she comes back in this game somehow, and then Hades just straight up admits to having resurrected her himself.
It's like, somehow Medusa returned. I'm somehow.
Somehow Medusa returned. Oh wait, that was me.
Yeah.
Basically.
If in episode 9 the Emperor was actually being controlled by someone else, and Rey kills the Emperor, and there's some guy out there in the background.
Yeah, it's like somehow Palpatine returned, and then it turns out it was Darth Plagueis.
It was, it was me. Oh.
I mean, Pelagius was killed by Palpatine, so of course, then again,
he has a whole
Palpatine was thrown down a freaking shaft. So
and also Force Ghosts.
Well, there's that. He has a whole bunch of underground cloning facilities. I'm sure something could have happened, but
I know in Legends it was explained that Palpatine returned by cloning backup bodies of himself and shifting his consciousness into it through the Force. But Legends is kind of a mess, and not all of it was canon.
Hey, at least not as big of a mess as Disney Star Wars.
True. But remember, in Legends, Shakti dies like 4 times, so...
Now, whereas the Hades twist in Uprising, it's like, for the entire game, you're still questioning, like, how did she come back from that shit in the NES game? And then Hades just comes in at the 11th hour. Yeah, I brought her back. So what? Bring it.
All right.
taunts contrast the dire implications of his power. It has this balance of levity and menace that makes his introduction memorable, helped by the ominous music and the performance by Hades' voice actor.
So he has a really good voice actor, and his personality is fun.
On a basic levels, like the performance can make all the difference, but it's not that big of an element in terms of this topic.
That is not a critique of the narrative or the dialogue or the theme or whatever the thing that makes a villain.
It is a factor, just not as big as he thinks it is.
Well,
yes, Hades is an entertaining villain. He's a memorable villain, but why is he a great villain?
It's the equivalent of it's a hot chick, it's an attractive male, whatever. It's not really it's one of like 8 things you need, let's just say, and you don't even have to have an attractive woman or male to make a compelling character. So
it helps.
Yes, but that is, if that's all it is, then that's not a villain argument. That's just I like character.
Well, I know, but still.
Who also had some various other roles.
One hard gangster, Diamond. You can find me at the club. Have your pet neutered or spayed.
What the hell?
I forgot about this.
I don't even know what this is.
I forgot the name, but I've seen this before.
Point is, this character comes
Oh, wait, it's
off like a
Godhand.
showman, ready to have a good time, and for the rest of the game,
that was
he
just
becomes
taking the
main
piss out of
antagonist.
Kamen Rider.
So unlike when that
Yes.
trope is
Well,
used,
Sentai,
this isn't
yeah.
really done at the end of the story. If anything, it's at the halfway point. Plus, the fact he's entertaining adds a lot to it.
He's a good villain because he's entertaining. That's great.
Well, again, this is the same point that he gave Armstrong, though.
Well, Armstrong at least he was talking about politics, and obviously that's a bit misconstrued. When you're fighting, you can't really pay attention. So
Yeah. Armstrong has a bit more depth and nuance to him. Hades is just melodrama and ham.
Yeah, it's like, to your point, it's like at least Armstrong had the baggage of the shit that happened in MCS4 to bolster him with his motivation. So,
yeah, this is just I'm a Greek representation, and I'm the Nintendo Kid Icarus version of that. You're like, oh, okay.
this game was on the 3DS.
Oh, wow!
Remake the game, Nintendo.
That's pretty
Please.
Cool for a 3DS. Yeah.
Just give us some dual stick pointer controls, and you would have a hell of a game.
As far as I'm aware, it's one of the highest rated games on the 3DS, or at least one of the most memorable.
Excuse you.
Not even death can stop the god of the underworld from being a huge ham. And it's not like Hades
he
all
is
show
death.
with no substance.
Well,
this guy has a villain and a
Thanatos
boss.
is the god of
Ooh,
death.
boy.
He is
He's
the god of the
technically a
dead.
multi-phase boss fight that keeps the players on their toes, with a blend of fast-paced shooting and strategic targeting, where every phase introduces something new to prevent the monotony and reflecting the unpredictable nature of Hades. Hell, another chapter, number 23, you're literally fighting against Hades' heart, and while you destroy his heart...
Just saying, the very thing about Hades in mythology is that he is the very opposite of unpredictable. Because if there's the one thing that is predictable, that is inevitable, it is death. And it makes you conscious. Well, if it happens to others, if it happens to you, it kind of ends that. But oh god.
Yeah, I think the argument here is because he's entertaining, and thus the entertainment value also comes from his level design, because you're attacking him and his heart and blah blah blah. That
So it's like learn the heart of the fucking walking heart of the boss is a phase of the boss fight. That's at least unique,
which is goofy and fun. So he's
as well as he's showing here, as well as actively acknowledging the absurdity of it.
Yeah, it's not so much a narrative argument. It's this is a villain, or this is a obstacle in the game that is fun, and it's designed so well that he as a character is memorable with the gameplay and the media, the voice acting, etc. So that makes sense. If you want to use the argument from like 90% game experience, and then the other stuff does not have as much weight, like the voice acting is good, but it just adds to the fun part, the entertainment.
Which with this game, the voice acting is surprisingly good.
Yeah, as opposed to the dramatic elements of characterization and motivation. So that, again, I want him to have the intelligence to say this is such a memorable character because of the gameplay, not because the character is some sort of Shakespearean dramatic experience.
But hey, at least I'm not dead!
Then again, this guy can survive being cut in two and having his head punched off.
I am your master, Medusa, and I will revive you as many times as I desire.
Honestly speaking, Hades is just a fun villain in gaming and is a great example of how to do an actual good twist villain, since you actually have to have more than half a game with him being the main antagonist, so you get to have more time to flesh him out.
I must bid you adieu.
Yeah, that's really the only thing that makes up for the fact that he had no build-up prior to his reveal. The fact that they used that half of the game to establish him and build him up for the proper fight later down the road.
Yeah, believe it or not.
And there's a part of the game where you team up with Hades to fight aliens.
Well,
yeah.
If this
Icarus is a little wild, it's pretty wild. Let's be real.
Yeah,
but still.
Well, 3DS had some good games. I don't remember this, but I never played it. But if his argument is it's fun, it's a game, and this villain comes out of nowhere, he's entertaining, he's got all this media, the level design is good.
Yeah, that's all fine and good. That's for this topic. That's not enough, though.
Well, but this is his. I think this is his strongest argument because everything has been, I like this character because he has this, and this is like no. This is an aspect of the gameplay, not the dramatic elements, not the characterization, not motivation, not all the backstory. This character is fun. Here's the gameplay elements. These are fun elements. All the things that we associate with character is now part of gameplay, like the voice acting, and he's a Greek character, so he can't die, and you're shooting his heart off, you're blowing his head off, he's invincible, blah. Like that's, oh wow, how am I going to stop this impossible force? Like that is just a fun, silly thing. Within the game, which is already farcical, I believe. It's not very serious.
Yeah, it doesn't take itself seriously.
You have a solar deity voiced by Troy Baker that sounds like Zap Brannigan.
Yeah.
What?
I actually thought it was Billy West originally, but no, that's Troy Baker. That's just his range.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, Troy Baker's just damn near everywhere in the industry, but also the fact that, to Smud's point, the game doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah.
They do go ham on a lot of the humor and the references.
Yeah, so this is like...
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Going to... I got to get another food analogy. Going to a pizzeria, and they got three kinds of pizza, and that's all they do. There's barely any variation, but that's exactly what you signed up for, and it's what they do is very good, and that's it. And that's fine. You can make that argument. I want to go to a pizza. I want to get a good slice of New York style pizza, and they do one or two things, and that's exactly what it does. There's not too much depth. It doesn't have to be, but for what you get is exactly that. That's what this argument is, and I think it's the best one because the other ones he did not go into detail. He did not explain the conflicts. He did not explain the characterization. He just said, well, the themes of this with this character was nice to listen to. It's like, that's, it's not a villain. That's any character. So with video games, he really should have broken he sort of split down the half, gameplay and story, and talked about both. And
a lot of these, mind you, a lot of these villains have the gameplay mechanics tell part of the story with them. It's like Hades right here. There's also Vergil and Armstrong, where some of the gameplay mechanics in their fights tell part of the story already.
But you see,
have that built in
with DMC 3 and 5, or with this game. DMC 3 is not to be taken too seriously, even though it has those dramatic elements, but it also has those very corny elements, like with the voice acting and
like the talking swords that Dante keeps telling to shut up.
There's all kinds of goofy.
Mind you, it's just the one scene, but yeah,
it's the same way.
It's still a funny and goofy moment.
Oh yeah, I would say anything from Japan has its goofy elements, and especially from Hideo. So it's kind of like, okay, when do we cross the line? And the idea of characters is how is it presented. So you have to run with that. He needed to do that per game, per tone. Like the tone of all. I have no mouth and I must scream is just crazy. It's so psychotic. It's so dour compared to Portal 1, which also has it's closer to System Shock 2 in that it's depressing and scary. With Portal, it's fun. It's like, wow, this is a really goofy.
But you also have a AI talking in deadpan at you, where it's usually just insults.
Yeah, there is that certain layer of humor on top of the dark stuff.
There is a vibe of levity.
GLaDOS is not deadpan. She is utterly sarcastic.
It is levity and it is fun, whereas System Shock 2 is scary and claustrophobic, and the other one is I Have No Mouth is basically body horror and post-apocalyptic. So you got to address that tone, and then you say, what? Now that I have a setting, now that I have a tone, now that I have a narrative, like with GLaDOS, how does that work when the narrative jumps around or twists or goes 180? And with this, I get it, because it's like, oh, he's playing a trope, it's goofy, it's silly, and it's all gameplay. And it's a video about villains. Perfect. You've done your job. Everything else, I'm like, there's too many holes, there's no definition, you're not addressing stage, you're not addressing, like, I don't know, pick any brother, Cain and Abel, give an example of historical fiction that does the brothers fighting and why it worked. Why is Vergil a good brother villain, right? I want to know why, because we have so many examples throughout history. He had to do that, and he didn't. So, and this is unique. This Hades is unique to video games.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it works for me. He could have done other, I think Wisp's classic example, that would have worked too, of big giant god creature fighting out of rage. Why is, who's the villain in that game, by the way?
In Asura?
Yeah.
There's 3 villains, basically, plus if we ignore the roster of generals. The first one is Deus, who the head of the Pantheon, if you will, and who kills the Emperor in order for his own plan. He basically does the Armstrong thing.
Okay.
He's basically Armstrong, who takes the reins of power in order to achieve a higher goal, which is to destroy the proposed true villain, Goma, the demonic force at the center of Earth that spawns all these demon shit things. And for that, he thinks, okay, we'll sacrifice a couple trillion humans to power up the super beam, and then we kill for good. And that's worth it. So we get Utopia. And then once you got that all beaten, those two, it turns out, the true villain who was pulling all the strings was the Golden Spider all along, who guided you on your way, who engineered everything, who created the Goma, who created all this magic technology and the magic we run everything with. And that's the entire 4th chapter or 4th act of the game, is to chase after him and beat him up, because he is the real thing that Asura is pissed off about but never knew, because what he wants is to not be manipulated. And that's all the spider does. Asura, basically, aside from, of course, wanting justice for his family being killed, wants to free his daughter, but he is most pissed at being manipulated, and that is what Chakravartin does.
Okay.
The god of rulership, basically.
Okay, so what you've just described is obviously the title, and it's a story of revenge, but the villains are the themes, meaning they are the focus of the narrative as their reveal becomes part of the story. Mm-hmm. So with that alone, we're not talking about characters, we're talking about storytelling. And he didn't do that. He just says, well, we get to the end boss and it's Armstrong and he has these political views, and it's like, okay. But with your descriptions, those villains are the story. They are the focus. We know why they're there. We know what they can do, or at least when we play them. It is self-descriptive by nature alone, which is why I liked his example of the Yakuza, because it's all obvious. It's like, oh, he represents honor. He represents pride. He has a grudge against the main character because of he losing his honor, and he really cares about honor. It's like that makes a good villain in that setting, in that story, with those characters. It's like that's what I wanted. You can't just say I like him because he's fun, unless it's an example like a game, because the game is only about being goofy and having fun. In the case of Asura's Wrath, it's motivation to get revenge for your family, and the mysteries involved of what that involves.
Yeah, and overall, Chakravartin's motivation, he may be a bit sadistic, but he's also not true evil for the sake of sadism and his own pleasure.
Yeah,
the reason he engineers everything and creates entire galaxies is to seek successors of him for himself, so that he doesn't need to rule in person. That's his crazy.
I was going to say examples that we can expand the definition of villains as they are revealed in either gaming or narratives. And we could talk about why. Like, look at Magus from Chrono Trigger. Very simple villain. We know his backstory. We know his past. We know his motivation. He's all throughout time trying to stop Lavos to get revenge. And then he joins the party because that's what he thinks is the best. His goals align with the main party.
Mm-hmm.
He becomes a player character. You can do that in video games. That's an extra step on top of video gaming that you could only do in video games. I remember back in the day, Breath of Fire 4, you play as Fu. He's a villain. He's one of the main characters. You jump between them and I think Yuna and a few others. It's like, oh, wow, that's cool. The same with the anti-hero, with Xenogears or Batman or whatever. It's like, why are they considered villains, and how does that work? It's the same argument you're making. Opposing the main character or opposing the antagonist.
In a smart way.
In an interest, in a twist, in a mysterious a way I've never seen it done before. And that's what Icarus is about. Because they do a play on a trope. Anyway, I think I'm talking too much, but there's so much more to talk about villains because they're very important.
Oh no! It's rather you're covering for what he left out because he only did a very superficial video at large.
It's the video of I like a thing. I like the thing because it's good, therefore it's a good villain. It's like it could be talking about cars. It could be talking about pizza flavors. Could be anything.
Space Junk in the chat said it best. He compared it to a Watch Mojo video, just generic and uninspired.
All right. Well, I'm going to read some super chats because I've been rambling on too long. Sorry about that. X and Zero, thank you, sir, for the 2. Why bring up DMC1 for Vergil under mind control?
Yeah, that one you already read, and it's the fact that yeah, you did. But and then I brought up it's the fact that despite that being Vergil's introduction and the reveal being damn near at the end of the game that it's Vergil, that is still more or less the linchpin of Dante's arc in that specific game.
It is hinted at after your first encounter with him because Angelo recognizes the medallion.
Yeah, he recognizes the amulet, one of the amulets. Especially, they also lampshade that well, not lampshade. They also emphasize that in DMC3, where he cherishes his own amulet that more than Dante does his as well. Like one of Vergil's first scenes is where it's like he looks at his amulet again at the same time that Arkham mentions the death of Eva.
Yeah, and in the third fight with Angelo, which is revealed to be Vergil, and he still had his half of the amulet.
Yeah, even after being brainwashed by Mundus, which again is retroactively following from Vergil thinking he could take Mundus at the end of DMC3.
Like even being brainwashed and controlled, he still had that connection to his parentage.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Here's Xton Zero again. Jackpot was originally a setup and payoff in DMC. I should hit the jackpot sooner or later. Intro. Looks like we have a winner. Jackpot end.
Yeah, and from there it became an end of game payoff in DMC 3, 4, and 5.
Cool.
Although in 4 you have to work, or in 4 you have to earn it. You have to work for it, but still.
Another from Exton. Bury the Light is an overrated song. I hate it.
Well, that's your problem, buddy.
That's fair to say. If you don't like the song, you don't like it.
As opposed to me, where it's like, that's your problem.
mean, I prefer Devil Trigger, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Threadnought. Somehow Palpatine has returned. It was me, Darth Mickey. Aha. Disney Wars 3: The Fall of Star Wars. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think.
Can we say Mickey Mouse is Darth Malices?
Well, I think after episode 8, we all checked out and we were like, "Yep, that's done."
Of course we did.
Yeah.
Last one from Accent Zero. He made Asura's daughter cry.
That's how you know he's really a villain.
Yep, that is Asura's real motivation.
See, that's a good. Even you could say that's evil or just cruel or mean. But if it resonates with the audience and it resonates with the character, hey, you might have a villain. Now,
I mean, it does resonate because that's ultimately one of the things that makes Asura kick into high gear at the end of the game. There,
it shows how much Asura cherishes his daughter.
Right.
Best
yeah.
So basically,
which I'm convinced. Which if I can say, I'm convinced that was at least somewhat influenced by God of War because. It was a much lower priority in God of War, but it was still there.
Oh yeah.
At least as of Chains of Olympus, where that was a main focus.
His Kratos' entire motivation was his family.
Yeah, the fact that he lost it because of the manipulations of the gods, and he was trying to seek justice for not just himself and his family, but for everyone.
And the gods and titans. Always, because they have to, completely twist and lie about Kratos' motivation. And the idiot audience of the so-called game journalists and even some game developers just believe the villains, the narcissists, about what they have to say about Kratos instead of looking at what is Kratos doing, what is Kratos saying.
All right, let's get to stream.
Because that is what really counts.
Let's get the stream memes. I think we're done.
I mean, granted, Kratos' actions did have severe consequences for the world at large.
To be fair, we're right there anyway.
Well,
right there.
I think we've said more than he has. I think if he,
I don't think the last 2 minutes are anything of value. I don't.
Well,
I watched it ahead of time. That's why I knew it was a very surface level, superficial video.
In order to assess properly a character, we have to get into the genre, what the message of the story is, for example. You don't have to, but it helps because the antagonist is the main opposing concept, the idea, the force, whatever, of the protagonist. And once you do that, you say, okay, this may be, like Darth Vader may be a very memorable villain, perhaps the most famous villain, but is he the best idea for Star Wars as a series or as a movie, the individual movie you want to talk about, or as a genre? And so
whether or not to add to that, whether or not he's the best in that franchise, he is at least the benchmark.
He is memorable for the visuals, the voice, what he does, what he represents. There's a classic idea with the Utnapishtim, I believe, where the story came from. So he's a representation of the son against the father.
Pishtim has nothing to do with that.
The Upanishad. What not the Upanishad? It's an Indian epic. I can't remember the name of it. It'll come to me eventually. But like we always go back to a previous example and say, okay, this is where it was done originally by Homer, by Shakespeare, by whatever. This is why Brother versus Brother works and why Vergil is good. This is why Ganondorf is good or whatever. Why Dracula is good, etc. We have to understand the genre. We can't just compare like the corniness of a Castlevania narrative to Mass Effect narrative. You just can't do it. It doesn't work.
Yeah, you can't look at Devil May Cry and just look at the cool factor, nothing else. There's more to it than that.
I can't say Vergil is comparable to Saren. It doesn't work. So you have to understand your criteria.
Wait, you mean Mass Effect Saren?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, he's better than Saren. Point blank.
One thing that's great about Ganondorf is in the Twilight Princess manga, he has a long conversation with Zelda about his motivations, about where he even came from. While the manga is not canon to the games, it is canon to the Ocarina of Time manga. At the end of Ocarina of Time, Link goes back in time and warns Zelda of Ganondorf's intents, and the late King of Hyrule has him banished to the Arbiter's grounds and executed.
If nothing else, it's at least something to consider. But anyway, let's go to the memes.
What is it?
Spoilers for the
Armstrong's
Twilight Princess manga, I guess.
nanomachines when Raiden hits him, and then you have some blue. What is this? When the Viagra kicks in?
Well, I think you're too far up. Down.
He's still in the first couple. And it's like that is basically what happens with Armstrong's nanomachines. It's just they react to impact.
I think it gets aroused or something. If they make greeting cards to thank people for helping with evil plans, I owe you one.
Dementio from Super Paper Mario.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say.
What people would argue was the last good Paper Mario. I can see why.
Meanwhile, here's what was it? Final Form Magalore from Return to Dreamland, was it?
I believe so, yes, because Magalore does a rug pull. Like all the treasures you were getting for him were for his own purposes.
Magalore's another example of a twist villain.
Oh, you know what? Who was a really good twist villain? In Kirby's Fun Pack. Or Kirby Superstar in English. Marx.
Yeah.
Always Marx.
That I don't think that was an accident.
That and later down the line, what was it, 02 from 64? Where it's like it's basically the Hades thing where it's like 02 comes bumfuck out of nowhere, especially since 02 is the 100% final boss.
Okay, if you put it there.
That's basically what happens during those fake credits. It's like, and then suddenly Hades, it's like, hello there.
Oh my god.
Because that's an Old Spice ad, because you think that's the end of the ad, it just cuts to one where it's like,
yeah.
When?
Yeah. Meanwhile, the next one. I'm surprised he didn't bring up Sephiroth, but at the same time, Sephiroth's overplayed anyway in this whole.
Sephiroth is just a.
Hey, can you let Smut talk, please?
Does anyone have any idea where this is from? Because I've never seen this before.
There are some people making really amazing stop motions.
This is stop motion. Wow, that is beautiful.
Stop motion.
Yep.
With the
official toys, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of toys. My brother has one.
Toys and figures, yeah.
Yeah, this is like a full articulation with the fingers. Oh my god.
Yeah,
it's so subtle.
Some high quality.
It's the subtleties that make it look alive.
Like, look at Kirby's red boots and they come into the light at the bottom. It's just boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. like whoever this person, like I know the channel. I just forgetting the name right now. But this guy is really good with this stuff, with the stop motion that he does.
Yeah. Someone be kind to Smart and dig out the channel.
I think he's doing Star Wars stuff right now with the action figures.
I don't know.
I thought Warhammer.
Oh no! I forgot to do.
Someone is throwing weapons at Kid Icarus.
This is a inversion of a meme where it's like the soldier shielding the child from harm. He or she is swinging the knives.
I wouldn't have known.
No, the point is that in Kid Icarus Uprising, the dynamic between Palutena and Pit is the opposite of that.
Oh, great.
He doesn't give a damn what happens to him.
Oh, this is cute. I like this. I don't know what it means.
Okay, that's great.
Let me zoom in here. Help me. Da-da-da-da-da.
Oh,
I am here.
I think that was My Hero Academia.
Yeah, it's an edit. It's a Kid Icarus edit of the My Hero Academia one.
So she just wants Kit to come by and
like she's just playing with him.
Yeah.
That's also part of their dynamic in that game.
Ice cream and better places? Floor, ice cream. What? Pit.
That's a gag in the game.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing where it's like the healing items in the game are food that you can find anywhere, like break an object or in a chest or whatever. This is just a play on that.
Boy, there are better places to eat food than off the ground, you know. I tried telling him, but it gives you health. Yeah.
Well, it does. He's not wrong.
Oh, dear. What's happening? Who's that?
Yeah, Veridi's just a bitch.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Nice. What's next?
Oh, missed opportunity covering Wazowski up with one of the actual enemies.
Who can name all four of them?
Oh, no.
You lose.
I accept defeat.
Well, at least Mike Wazowski, that's the obvious one.
Yeah. Okay.
I wish I could read.
Ow, that's
Oh,
he's missing out.
Oh dear. The innocent angel sent to save heaven. Okay.
The illiterate angel.
Oh, for good reason. Under Snail? Doll. That's the character from the game Pit likes. Perhaps. Yeah, they probably changed the name. Perhaps if I buy this for him, oh wow, Lady Palutena's never gotten this for me. I can persuade him into serving me. Later. Oh, Pit isn't into Under Snail anymore. I am, though. Can I have this? You took Pit in the divorce. I'm not giving you anything else.
Bitch.
Whoa. What the hell?
Oh yeah, these two had a thing going on for a while.
Jeez.
Very Greek.
Intense.
Yeah.
Oh my. What?
At least ride it, you asshole.
Yeah. Smash. Like the bike is Wario's side B, and you can literally get him off it and pick it up.
Okay. So here we have Drake, and he doesn't like Thanos, but he's...
And that's Thanatos.
Is that? Oh, okay.
That's their depiction of Thanatos.
That's interesting. Gotta love all this crazy, fun, surrealistic art. The extra H is for amazing.
Oh yeah, isn't that H silent in his name?
Oh yeah.
It's.
Well, it's.
I'm not getting into that.
Not
at this hour.
Thanatos. It's Thanatos. Like it is the TH sound.
It is Thanatos.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd remember that they make a joke out of that because the more accepted one is Thanatos, but he points like, no, it's not.
What is he doing to his kid?
That is what?
Oh, he's covering his eyes.
This is from the Nintendo Switch parental controls video.
Oh, jeez.
When Nintendo
And
cared about
yeah,
families.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the GIF seemed, I believe, is from the very short-lived Kid Icarus anime.
What?
that.
Wait, what?
The GIF above the parental controls.
I thought you were at the Mitsuavemente, because that is not short-lived. That is timeless.
So
No,
this-
it's the one above the parental controls.
What is happening with the Dedede? Is he just...
DDD, this is from... What was it? The Banjo... the King K. Rool reveal trailer for Smash Ultimate.
Yeah.
Where it's like he tricks DK and Diddy to thinking that K. Rool's back, and then he turns out, no, it's DDD. And then the K. Rool comes from behind him and smacks him away.
I believe they did this with Banjo-Kazooie as well.
Yeah, it's like a further iteration on this gag.
That was fun. Fun memes, I guess.
You know, it wasn't a horrible video. It's just you gotta say more, please.
It was like
dig a little more. Dig a little more.
Now the actual selection of villains for the most part is a pretty good selection. Just say more.
I
please.
think if he went into storytelling first and explained what characters are and why they operate the way they do, and then bring in video games and why we like the bosses, for example, in video games, because some characters are villains, not necessarily bosses, like Kreia until the end in KOTOR 2.
Yeah.
So why does it work? How does it work? What does it mean in this genre? What does it mean in a sequel? What does it mean in Planescape, for example, in an isometric game where everyone's weird and you don't trust anyone? It's all kind of creepy, and how can you like something which is disgusting and all this other stuff? So that I wanted to get into. Maybe the friend-foe dynamic. What makes a compelling character? What makes them transition into a revealed villain, a twist villain, if you will? There's all kinds of things to talk about.
Some of the villains that also incorporate gameplay story integration, which I know Vergil, Armstrong, and Hades all do that.
That's a good argument. That's especially for video games, you have to talk about.
And again, especially, sorry. It's like, Vergil does it especially. I've mentioned the examples of its first two fights where in the first one, most of the fight in the rain brings his hair down. They makes the brothers look identical because of that. And in the second fight, he uses his new weapon. Then he switches back to his original weapon because he's getting his ass whooped.
There's lots to talk about villains, for sure. And not just in gaming, but also in classic literature, where these ideas came from. Greek literature, if you want to go that far. Again, I mentioned the Sumerian epic, but you don't have to go that far. So
yeah,
you should.
You should
Yeah.
if you're going to talk about villains in general, especially games, because there's so many great games with great villains, and you gotta we could talk about Xenogears and why that villain worked or didn't work throughout the story.
Yeah,
there's so many options to JRPGs to look at. Heroes as villains, anti-heroes. Friends becoming foes and vice versa. The narrative or the villain as narrative or the frame as narrative. Motivations of both. A dark mirror to the main character. All these things you could talk about.
Yeah, and again, like I said earlier, that the video game villains have several advantages. Like I said earlier, one of them being gameplay story integration, which it can add more depth to some of these guys.
He might have mentioned that with the senator because he was talking while he was fighting and pontificating. I'm assuming.
Well, yeah, with Armstrong in that case, it's because of the fact that of the nanomachines making him so strong. So there really wasn't any way around that in terms of incorporating that into the actual fight.
Right, and he mentioned he showed us how much he was losing while he was listening to Armstrong talk, and he was getting bodied all the time. So there's. That itself is storytelling. That's part of the narrative. So you should talk about losing can tell you more about a villain in some cases.
Which is another thing that Vergil's whole arc incorporates in DMC3 as well. Where it's that helps Dante to gain proper motivation and have his own personal awakening by the end.
Yeah, it's not just good versus evil. There has to be characterization. There has to be motivation. It has to be clear. And that's why I thought the Yakuza and the Kid Icarus examples worked the best because they were obvious and you have to explain the detail behind it because it was sort of blinding you in the face with why it works. Either way, I like the video. Very well cut, kind of long, but it gave us a lot to talk about. So I appreciated that. That was good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, guys.
Yeah, editing was good.
Yeah, he's not bad. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for your time. We appreciate it. Always fun to talk about gaming and storytelling. And all the silly super chats about, DMC and Disney. Always a joy. Have yourself a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Good night.
Good night.